No. Where are we? Wingham. Cool. I didn't see North Street. Oh, wait a minute. North Street West. Okay. That's where I gotta go. Down that way.
Hey folks, remember me? It's going to give you a bit of an update what's been going on. One word of advice before I start is if you have a choice, do not move in the winter time. It really sucks. So basically what was happening, we were moving January 31st to February 1st. So for the last couple of weeks I've been keeping my eyes on what the forecast is and hoping that we're not going to get much snow or any actually. Because I was going to be driving a big truck, biggest vehicle I've ever driven in my life. I was kind of concerned about that, and having snowy roads and bad weather just would have made it all that much worse. So these are the 2 days I'm looking at specifically, 31st and February 1st. And I've been watching the forecast for the last couple weeks. It's varied anywhere from 10 to 15 centimeters forecasted for those days, down to no snow at all. So I just kind of, pretty much every day it was something different. So I'm looking at it now, it's the 30th right now, and there's the forecast of snow, but there's not that much, so I'm hoping that things will go alright. To give you an idea how scary this house is, I made this video showing some pretty scary things. I didn't want to do this before because I was worried the house would be condemned, and now that we're not living there anymore, I don't mind showing this. I really don't care now. So this is just kind of some of the things that that I want to show that really were quite worrisome while we were living there. So this whole place is it's such a disaster as far as moisture goes. The floorboards are all wet, soggy, rotted. You can see here there's kind of a new floor. This is the washroom here, and I guess that's the toilet there, so somewhere right there. I don't know why you can see that, but the floor is rotting. There's a soft spot in the washroom upstairs. It just feels like we're gonna fall through it. But the shower and the bathtub, actually the bathtub faucet kind of leaks a little bit, and it runs back along the spout to the wall, and it kind of comes down here. And these storage cabinets, the moisture just rotted right through them. Oh, there we go. I'm using my headlamp for lighting here, and it's kind of overwhelming the camera a bit. There, you kind of see. There's just so much moisture damage everywhere. And this wall here, whenever we get rain or snow melt, and water comes in through the wall to the floor. There's so much garbage all over here right now. I can kind of see, hopefully you can see, on the floor there, we get like a couple inches of water down in here. And that's the drain. You can see it's all full of dirt, and it just sits here. I'm not sure why, but for some reason my camera just stopped recording there. Okay, so the water sits here, and maybe for a couple hours, and all of a sudden this hole here, a bunch of bubbles will come out, and it just starts draining through all the dirt, just kind of filters through. But on the other side, way over here, if you can kind of see that. Oh. And a hole in the wall. I got a rag stuffed in it because there's a hole there. And it almost looks like there used to be a hole, like a drain or something. I'm not sure what that's from. There's a pipe sticking out of the ground there. I'm not sure what that's from. But this wall here, it just... Okay, so apparently my batteries were dying in the camera. That's why it was kept shutting off on me. I did it a second time. So if you look in there, you see all the powder on the ground, on the shelf or whatever. The way this foundation is, it's like cobblestone, I guess. And it's rocks and it's got grout in between them. And it's falling apart. You touch it. I don't want to stick my hand in there because there's spider webs all over the place here. We got really, really super scary looking spiders down here. I don't even know what they are. I've never seen anything like them. But it's like all the way around. It's just crumbling. You know, you get a decent sized earthquake and this place is coming down. And it's pretty, ow, my knee's hurting. It's pretty scary looking. Some of the things in this place. And a light bulb burned out a little while ago, a couple weeks ago. I went to replace it and the bulb wouldn't work. And it's just this whole thing is just, it's falling apart. It's kind of scary. But there's things in here. No pigtail light. I don't even think these things are legal anymore. This doesn't work. I replaced the bulb in it. Didn't make any difference. It's not working. Okay. Another thing that scares me about this place is knob and tube. And I'm not sure if this is still in use. Kind of special looking, isn't it? Really, really frightening. But I'm not sure if it's still in use. But if you follow the wires, it does come back to this box. And this box runs over to the breaker panel. And you can see like, this wall is falling apart too. It's a scary house. It is really scary. And if you see that pipe sticking out there, it's got electrical wires in it. And I'm thinking it has something to do with that pipe down there and that hole in the wall. The guy that used to live here, he built the house next door. And I'm thinking at one point in time these two houses might have been connected in some way. Exactly sure how. Not sure why there's a big section of wall missing on the other side of the window there. I've never noticed that part. But it's just, there's so many things in here that are just scary. And I'm so glad that we're moving out. The kitchen sink stopped working last night. Ow. Went to drain the sink out and made a weird noise. Apparently the drain malfunctioned, I guess you could say. All the water was pouring down into the cabinet underneath. Now, you can see I can't get over this. There's so much junk here. Oh, there's so much work to do. But if you look up there, you can see all that, the grass there. That's not it looks like a bird's nest. It's not a nest. They're vines. They come in here in the springtime when everything starts growing. Kind of work their way through the wall and start going inside the house. There's so much moisture down here they can survive. No light though, it's always pretty dark in here. But it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And try not to get too close to these spider webs here. I'm not sure how well you can see them. But they're everywhere. And any place where there hasn't been any action for a little while, they just build up and build up. And they're everywhere down here. I don't see spiders in these, so I don't know what created these particular ones. But, oh, my knee is hurting. So much, I am in so much pain doing so much work this last little bit. But Notice I have an antique dresser. Oh, there's a spider right there. Oh, daddy long leg spider. I'm not worried about him. But I was gonna try to sell my antique dresser. Yeah, I took the drawers out of it. And I was looking underneath and in the back and trying to find a date on it, because furniture that old, when whoever made them, they usually, or used to put their name or signature or whatever and the date that it was built. I was sure it had one on it. I kind of remember seeing that, but I couldn't find it. But I pulled the dresser away from the wall. It's been sitting there for a few years, so. And I pulled the dresser away from the wall to tilt it backwards. And I looked behind it first. Couldn't see anything on the back of it. So then I pulled it out so I could tilt it forward, or tilt it back to look underneath it. And I had a whole bunch of spiders underneath, live spiders. I had no idea what they are. They're kind of like a cross between a wolf spider and a daddy longlegs. Really scary looking things. I've never seen anything like them in my life, so I don't know what they are. Don't know if they're dangerous, so I immediately put the dresser back, and it's going to stay right where it is. So I'm not dealing with those guys. I don't want to take them with me. I don't know if they're dangerous. Like, look at the damage here. It's just, it's crumbling. It's just, everything's just falling apart. It's really scary. And the top here is not too bad. I don't know what that is. That looks like the top of a wine bottle or something. Not mine. But I'm so glad we're leaving. This house is scary. It's ow. It's threatening to come down. And they had more than one light socket in the house. It decided it didn't want to work anymore. It's all been spray painted. So it's just kind of, in my opinion, it's a fire waiting to happen. And that's one thing that's been on my mind for quite some time since I've been living here. Where the heck does that go? The furnace, like a big octopus. Okay, I know where that one goes. You got that one that comes out here, and it almost looks like it goes outside, because it goes up, and it looks like it turns outwards. I don't know. Don't know. Not worried about it. Wow, we just got so much left to do. Now, this house is old. Ow, ow, ow. I'm not surprised it's got problems. Because when this house was first built, it didn't even have a washroom in it. It had an outhouse out back. So it's quite old. Been around a long time. Oh, look at that. Oh, there it is. That's the end of the furnace vent. No wonder it's so cold upstairs. All the air's coming out the end here. Wow. That's pretty scary. Good look at the light. You can see the cracks in there. It's kind of scary. And one that I replaced on the other half of the basement. Mouse trap up there is not sprung. It's still loaded, apparently. So that's one place the mice are not going. I'm not surprised, because it's, you know, just the way it is. We got all these floor joists that come through here. Wow. So it's not like I can walk straight across the beam to get to it. The cat's doing a good job of catching the mice, and he has now decided to start eating them. He's going to be interesting to catch the day we move, though, because I know you can't see it, but up in here there's a hole behind the pipes in the wall, and when he gets scared, he comes up on top here and jumps up there, and he crawls across the pipe to that hole, and that's where he hides. So when it comes time to move, this could be interesting, because he does not like to be, I don't know what the word would be, not confined. He does not like to be caught. So he's really difficult to take to the vet because it's really, really hard to get him into the cat carrier. Even if I do manage to get a hold of him, he squirms pretty good. It's kind of dangerous grabbing him. He freaks out. So what I'm going to do, I got the cat carrier in the bathtub right now. I've been there for a bit just to get him used to seeing it there. So when the day comes that he's got to go, we got to go, then I'm gonna trap him in the washroom so he can't get away, and stuff him in the carrier. Make sure I got gloves with me or something. Yeah, if you can see that shining in there, that appears to be a spider web with water droplets on it. It does not surprise me at all. It's just a scary house. Absolutely scary. Very old. So he sells the house. Somebody decides they want to buy it. They are going to get quite a shock. I just noticed something. This is a gas line. This is natural gas, and look at the rust on that. That is scary. Yeah. I'm going to pause the video here for a second. Something that I haven't mentioned yet. That soft spot in the washroom that I was talking about, I have determined it is the floor joist. That you can see how badly it's split. And it's got all kinds of cracks all along it. And I'm assuming that when we step on that particular spot, the cracks are spreading out and the joist is sagging. I'm pretty sure that's what's doing it. The scary part is if it releases, if it decides it wants to finally break and come down, it's right over top of this gas line. So it's kind of a scary thought there. Yeah, I am definitely very happy we are leaving here. That scares me. I had a fire call a while ago to a gas line, outdoor gas line, a valve I think it was. It was leaking. Somebody could smell gas, and it was leaking because of the rust. Wow, that's just scary. So, goodbye old house. I will not miss you at all. Lots more spider webs. Wow. Yeah. This here. This is the one that I changed, and even still, the socket itself is new, but it doesn't fit. I don't know. I always thought these, I don't even know what they're called. The box, electrical box, I always thought they were generic, all the same size. But all I know is that new one won't fit in there. Okay, more moisture. There's another spot here. And the water on the patio out back, and everything gets wet, heavy rain or whatever, the water actually seeps through the paint, through the wall. It's just taking all the paint off. All kind of water damage down here. That's just, it's crazy. And the house is just falling apart. Look at all the paint chips. Just falling apart. Back in this corner, That's kind of special. That is, I don't know if that's a support beam or not, but that's attached to the stairway coming down into the basement here. And it's not even touching the floor anymore. It's all rotted. It looks like something's living inside it. This has kind of excavated its way through the through the wood. And it's all kind of pieces all over the floor like dust. Okay, so this is the dresser I was talking about. Get back far enough. It's old, it's very old. It doesn't have the original. It had like pull handles on it. They were hinged, it was kind of neat. And these are just kind of replacements. It used to have locks. I remember when I was a very young kid, I took the locks out, I don't remember why. So they're long gone. It used to have wooden casters. The wheels themselves were wooden. I have 3 of them. I'm not even sure where they are. I haven't found them yet, but I had 3. I don't know where the 4th one went to. But it's old. Like it's all bent wood. It's very well built. It's very strong. This thing's older than I am. Yeah, as far back as I can remember, this was my bedroom closet. Dresser. But underneath here, I'm not gonna, I don't know, maybe I can down there. I don't know, I'm not, oh, that kind of scares me. I don't see the spiders anymore. Have they vacated and gone somewhere else? Oh my. Okay, that's kind of scary. I don't want to know. The memories of my first cat with this dresser. It was me being a kid. I wasn't 100% at keeping my bedroom clean. So the drawers were always kind of half open. My mother would come in, put clothes away or whatever, and close it. And one day, you hear this weird noise. We weren't sure what the heck it was. And it turns out she closed the door with the cat laying inside it. So she kind of got trapped in there for a little while. Memories of that. Yeah, I don't think I was the one that painted this. Only actual real damage. There's a piece. It's kind of laminate, I guess, on the top. There's this one piece here that's always been missing as far back as I can remember. It's always been like that. But it's just, there's so much paint on here. There's like 20 coats of paint. I'm not sure who painted it. I'm pretty sure it wasn't me. I don't remember painting it. There is one spot right there, and there's another one. You can just kind of see the edge of it there. My model paints. Jared kind of got a little messy in the paint. Just kind of rolled down the side. That paint's from me. I remember that. But this dresser, I mean, it's been around a long time. It's very well built. I kind of hate to get rid of it, but I don't know. Being down here, the moisture's kind of got to it. It's expanded, I think. The drawers are really, really hard to open now. Well, that one's not bad, but at these bottom ones here, that just, you gotta pull one side, then the other, then back to that, and back to that. It's crazy. I get this case of water here. One cabinet over there, I used to keep the water in it. I had like 3 or 4 cases at a time and just kind of rotate through them. Well, this kind of got trapped in there. That was when we lost the garage, so we had to put everything down here, and it kind of got buried and I couldn't get to it. So I pulled it out a couple days ago, and you see the bottles are just kind of flat because it's laying on its side. But you grab one of these bottles, you can actually pinch your fingers right together. They've shrunk. what the heck? What is in these other than just water shrink over time? I guess that's crazy. So I'm not gonna be drinking that. Maybe I'll dump it outside and make an ice rink or something. So that's a wasted case. So here we are, moving day. Yeah, early in the morning here, and of course we're getting snow. Yeah, exactly what I was afraid of. So temperature's not too bad. That's not, my concern. So I don't have accumulations for today, but February 1st, which is tomorrow, that 1 to 3 centimeters that it said yesterday has now become 5 to 10 centimeters. Oh goody. So I haven't got the truck yet. I'll be going later this afternoon to get that. Just before they close is when I'm going to pick it up. That way, we've got it for 24 hours. I'm going to do one run tonight, come home, load the truck up again, then we can do the second one tomorrow. I'll be taking Michelle, Ken, and the dog on the first trip, and then Zach and I will go with the truck on the second trip. The nice thing about U-Haul is you don't have to return to the same place that you rented from. You can drop it off at another location, and it just happens to be a location in Wingham, thankfully. So it's not actually in Wingham, it's just outside, but it's not far at all. So it saves me from trying to find a ride, back to Wingham when I bring the truck back to Hanover, because I don't have to do that, so that's kind of nice. So, it could be interesting. Looks like I'm going to be driving that big beast in the snow. So this is how it looked outside the window, just as I got the camera started up, and I got the last fire call from Hanover. You might hear it in the background there. I didn't actually record this one because I didn't have it set up on my computer anymore. But it was just a medical call. VSA, which is vital signs absent, so it's not a nice thing. So here's the truck that I rented. It's a 26-foot GMC. It's the biggest truck that they have. And I'm doing a quick video walk around. I'm going to turn the headlights off, I left them on. Doing a quick walk around before I leave the place to show the existing damage that's there. So I can prove that I didn't do it. It was already there. There's a lot of scratches and stuff on this truck already, so yeah, it's kind of neat. They put little X's where there's damage, so that they already know it's been logged. But there are a few there that don't have X's on them, so I just want to make sure now that I'm covered. I don't have to pay for repairs or anything. So they're already there. So it's a big truck. Like I said, it's 26 foot. I'm not sure if that's the whole truck or if it's just the box. And you see Cody came with me for support. First time driving something this big. So I've rented cube vans before, but nothing this size. I think 16 foot I think was the biggest that I've driven. This one's 10 feet longer, and it's got a lot of overhang on the back, so I really got to watch the back end when I turn corners and that. But the back's fine on it. But it's kind of frightening. I don't trust myself driving anymore all that well. And driving something like this, fully loaded, in snow, it's going to be an adventure, for sure. But just take it slow, take it cautious. And hopefully, I haven't been to the new place yet, so I've heard we don't have much of a driveway, so I'll probably end up driving or parking on the street. So I won't have to worry about backing into that driveway, but I'm kind of wondering about backing into my driveway at home here, because it's quite a steep angle, and I'm just worried about the back bumper kind of scraping the driveway as I'm backing in. But I'll see when I get there.
And away we go. Oh, that was... Oh yeah, it's a lot smoother now. Because it's fully loaded. Yeah. Take out the wall with the back of the truck.
So, got the truck home. Cody to guide me into the driveway. Just because I couldn't see the back bumper, so I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to scrape, and there wasn't any issues. So I got the truck all loaded up, and Michelle and Ken coming with me with the first trip. I'm going to drop them off, and they're going to kind of deal with stuff, unpacking and that, while I come back and do the second loading. So the nice thing is, by this point, the roads are pretty much clear. There is snow in the forecast for tonight, but there isn't anything major that's changed again, which is fine by me. But the wind has picked up a little bit, so the two highways that I'm going to be driving on are notorious for being closed when the weather's bad. So it's nice that it's not going to be really bad, because that wouldn't be a good thing. So here we are. First time seeing a new place. So we had to stop at Timmy's for a coffee for the trip, and that's kind of a given. I didn't want to try Hanover because the parking lot's kind of tight, and I didn't want to get into a situation where I had to back this thing up. So I decided we'll stop in Walkerton. It's kind of on the way anyways, we'll be driving right by it. And if I can't get in there, I can always park on the street, because in Hanover it's right on the main road, and transport trucks will park on the side, but I didn't really want to do that. So at Walkerton, it's off. Even though it's on the highway, it's off on the entrance is on a side street, so I can always park on the side street if I need to. So I get there, and I know that I have to take really wide corners with this truck. The problem is pulling into this parking lot. It's kind of a 180-degree turn, and I didn't quite turn, wide enough.
Relax, Pop. Dairy Queen. Bastards. Sit. Sit. Where you going? Yeah, I knew I was going to do that.
And you just knocked everything over.
Probably.
I love Ken's comment there. I just knocked everything over, which I did. Oh, not really everything. All the stuff in the overhead that they've nicknamed Mom's attic. There's all the light stuff and bags of clothes and that, just stuff that didn't matter if it fell. Some of that come down, but other than that, no, it wasn't too bad. That was the only error that I made the whole time I had the truck, so I guess that's excusable.
Relax. You want me to open it first?
Action. Will you even be able to get out that way?
Not supposed
Not
to.
supposed to, but
That's the easiest way to do it. You just made an illegal left-hand turn.
oh well.
Now, the first thing I noticed when we got out of Hanover is the headlights on this truck are crap. They're not very bright at all. They're out of aim. They kind of come to a point on the road ahead. They don't light much up at all. They're not even good enough for the camera. So I'm using my SJCAM here, which is the best in the dark, and you can barely see anything. So it's kind of scary that way. I don't know if they're... I don't think I've ever even ridden in a truck at night. I don't remember when I had the Cube van. I drove it at night out on the highway. I don't remember having an issue with it. It was in the wintertime too, by the way. So I don't know. I can't believe that all trucks are like that. This one, I'm pretty sure they're kind of out of aim pretty badly. A bit of an issue, but adequate to see where I'm driving anyways.
Fifth wheel trailer being towed.
Maybe they're going south on vacation.
No, this one was going north. Towards Chesley.
I'd like to mention a couple of things here. When we were looking at the different size trucks and that, the 26-foot truck from U-Haul is supposed to be adequate for the average 3 to 4 bedroom home. Well, we have a 4-bedroom home, but it's not exactly average. We have a lot of crap, and it didn't take long to realize that, you know, a lot of this crap we didn't need and needed to get rid of. So I knew even with a big truck it was going to take more than one trip. So that's why I wanted to rent it in the evening just before the place closes, because then we could do the first trip at night, and then the next morning, you know, it won't be pressured to do the whole thing all in one day and give me a chance to relax, because I've been working so hard the last few weeks just trying to get everything done and ready, and until you actually start preparing to move, you don't realize just how much work it's gonna be. So we had that, and the other thing, I am used to renting cars with full gas tanks. You pick them up, the tank's full, and you take it back and you fill the tank up. Nice and easy. But with U-Haul trucks, it's when you pick it up, whatever the gas is at, that's where you have to return it. So it was a quarter tank, and a big beast like this, I had no idea how much it was going to cost. I was figuring $200 or $300 for gas. So we put $100 in to start with, and got into Wingham here, and it just barely noticeable difference. It had gone down, but just like a couple needle widths, that's it. So I was kind of impressed with that, but I knew I was going to have to take a second load anyway, so I being really easy on the gas pedal the whole way, just trying to, you know, conserve fuel economy. But it actually turned out it wasn't as bad as I was expecting, so I was happy with that. The other thing is, it took us a lot longer to load the truck than we expected. So we never got around to leaving till about 9 o'clock, and by the time, it was just Kenny and I that had to unload the truck, and by the time we finished it was 1:30 in the morning. So it was pretty rough, and I had to go back and do it all over again. So while we were unloading the truck, saw police cars drive by. The Wingham police and OPP kept driving by. Now, I was parked illegally. You can't park on our street, and I don't know if they allow, you know, I have special allowances for moving vans or whatever, but I always see them blocking traffic. And at that time of morning, there was very little traffic anyways, so, or I should say that time of night. By the time we got there, you know, it was still the 31st. But it was nice to see, like, they were watching, but it didn't bother me. And it was actually kind of nice to see that they were, you know, driving by. So, and a pretty good police presence in town, so I was kind of happy about that. So, I'm not sure what time I got back. Like I say, it was 1:30 when we finished, and by the time I got back to the old house, Zach had gone to sleep, and there was no way I was gonna try getting any sleep. It was so much work that still had to be done, and it just wasn't time for sleep. I couldn't sleep. So, working away, and at a certain point in time, I decided to, you know, it was time to wake Zach up, because I couldn't do it all myself. I was already worn out. I was so sore. I was exhausted, and it just, normal everyday activities exhaust me. So this was just crazy. I was numb. I was aching. I was shaking. I was getting cramps, and it just was not a nice experience. So, anyways, we had help today. Cody came over to help. Mateo came to help, and I think there was one other person, I don't remember. So if you're watching this and you were helping, sorry. I just, at this point in time, I just don't remember. So, I had to do it all over again, second time. By the time I got back to Hanover, I was so tired. I was very exhausted, and I knew I wasn't going to be sleeping. There's still so much work left to do. I get a little bit worried. Driving is one thing, driving in the snow is another, but doing it all with no sleep, it's really not on my list of to-do things. But I didn't have a choice. There's so much that still had to be done. At this point, it was probably 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, so I had the truck for another 12 hours, and I couldn't stop. Had to keep going.
Oh my god. Sorry, I was rushing it so much at the end.
So I don't have a forecast for today, but as you can see, it's snowing. The forecast just isn't nice. Sometime during the time while we were gathering stuff to put on the truck, we realized it's not all going to fit on the second load, so we're going to need to do a third. There just isn't going to be enough hours, so we're trying to see what we can do to rent this truck for 24 hours with a moving dolly, appliance dolly I think they called it. Was, I think, $206 for the one day. So I'm assuming if we're going to need it for a second day, it's going to cost the same amount again. The nice thing is the gas gauge hasn't gone down much at all, so the $100 that we put in originally should, hopefully, do us for the whole thing. But we're just kind of deciding what we're going to do as far as extending our rental for another day. So while we're getting everything together on our end, Michelle's trying to track down some money for us and see what we can do. And once I get to the new place with the second load, I'll call up U-Haul and find out what the procedure is for an extra day. Then we can figure out what we're going to do after that. So for now, we got as much done as we could. We got as much on the truck as we could. The nice thing is we had help again. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Mateo. And when we get to the new place, there's going to be 3 of us taking the stuff off instead of just Ken and I. So it'll give me a chance to get a little bit of a break, thankfully. So I got the scooters with me this time because I know we're going to have help getting them off, which is nice. So the landlord's going to be there. He's going to be helping us out, so that's nice. We missed out on that last night. They were going to help, but we were just so late getting out. They couldn't stick around and wait for us. So this time they'll be there, which is nice. I have the cat with me this time. Fortunately, he did manage to get into that hole. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I got him coaxed out. I tried to grab him and he just freaked. He took off upstairs. Ended up getting into my bedroom, which was good because there's nowhere to hide in there. That was normally his safe zone. He'd hide underneath the bed. So didn't have a whole lot of hiding places this time. So I did manage to get him. It took me 3 tries in the bedroom to get him into the cage. I lost a lot of blood, but managed to do it. And the problem with him, like I said before, when you try to corral him, he freaks out and he turns wild. And once I got him into that cage, he was pretty scary. I wasn't sticking my fingers in there. He was very, very frightened, I guess you could say. He didn't know what was going on. He knew something was up. When we were getting ready to move, everything was getting moved around, packed up, and he was kind of getting a little uneasy at that time. So by the time we got everything done here, the furniture and everything all packed up, and he was pretty scared. He was constantly looking for places to hide. But got him in the truck with us. I'm gonna drop him off in my bedroom in a new place. Just leave him in the cage for now. And I kind of wanted to be there with him when he came out, but we have to do another trip, so I'm not gonna be there. So once we're ready to leave, we'll come back to Hanover for trip number 3. I'm gonna open the door and just kind of let him come out on his own. And hopefully he'll be alright till I get back. So it could be an interesting trip this time. Weather's not going to be nice. I'm running on no sleep now. My ankles are cramping up. I'm shaking pretty good. I'm exhausted. So it's going to be a fun trip.
I'm trying to tell them, it's like we have to do a third load anyways. Why are we making it hard to unload? What do you want, man? I'll run in.
Here we get to Tim Hortons in Walkerton, and it's a bunch more vehicles in the parking lot this time, so I'm not going to be able to go in. So I'm going to go around the block and park on the street, and Zach's going to walk in and grab our copies. So, up to this point, the roads haven't been too bad. There's a couple not so nice places where the snow was blowing across, and this is kind of an introduction of what we're going to experience once we get out in the open, but up to this point it hasn't been too bad. So I'm hoping things stay the way they are, but you know, I remember what the forecast looked like, so I just gotta wait till we get out there, I guess. And like I said before, that the two roads, the two highways that I'll be driving on, will be questionable. They're the two that normally get closed. Well, not first, but of all the highways in this area, they're usually the ones that get closed when the weather's bad. So don't expect the weather to get that bad, but that's just kind of an indication of what these highways experience when the weather gets bad. Just the way they are, they're so open, and the wind blows across them, and just kind of makes things, I don't know what word to use there, tense, I guess you could say, stressful. So, I mean, driving in an unfamiliar vehicle, in a situation like that. It's not always fun. So, just up here and grab our drinks, and then we're off, and you'll actually be able to see the trip in the daytime this time.
Oh, sorry.
Beautiful, this town is all we need. I see a beer store and an LCBO.
Yeah. And a rail trail bridge.
There you go,
The
lads.
second one. And it's actually on the map. It's the first time actually seeing it. Last time I was here, it was dark. I didn't see it.
So, as you can see, the roads were icky in a lot of places, but really not all that bad yet. Unfortunately, the worst of the weather is not going to get here till sometime tonight, and unfortunately with doing the third trip, that's when we encounter it, at night. So, it's just wonderful timing and that. But, talked to U-Haul, and it's not a problem extending another day. And the actual cost of the second day was only $39, so that's kind of impressive to me. pretty happy. The only difference is when I first rented it, we got 60 kilometers free, and it's 52 kilometers to Wingham from Hanover. I'm not sure if that's why we get 60. I'm not sure how they do it, or if it's just 60 period, no matter where you're going. But anything over that is 40 cents a kilometer. So it's nice that the extra day, I'm not sure if we get extra kilometers with the extra day or not. When I rent a car, I usually get it for 2 days because it's cheaper to pay the extra day rental than to pay for the extra kilometers, because each day that you rent you get a certain number of kilometers free, and the trip that I usually make, it exceeds that. And when I get a 2-day rental, then that's when the extra kilometers that come with the second day, they generally cover the combination of the 2 days. They cover my trip pretty much. I still go over by a little bit, but it's cheaper to do it that way than to rent for 1 day and pay all the extra kilometers. So this way here, I'm not sure, like I say, if I got extra kilometers free or not, but I'll find that out when I take the truck back, because I got to pay all the extras that came along with it. So, but here now, yeah, we got help unloading, so this trip actually went a whole lot easier. So we're heading back to Hanover now. We got Ken with us this time. I got a little extra help. I'm kind of useless at this point, so there's not a whole lot more I can do. So Zach and Ken will be doing most of the work, the heavy stuff anyways. So I'm not gonna show the whole trip, but I'm gonna show some of the road conditions. And the weather got kind of, not so nice, I guess you could say. So all that snow we're supposed to get today is coming for tonight. So it just makes things a little more difficult. But I'm gonna explain now why we had to move and why we chose Wingham. Originally, the landlord told us he was selling the house, and under new regulations or whatever, you can't sell a house when somebody, or show a house I guess it is, while somebody's still living there, which is crap. I looked into it, and there's nothing like that. If a person's under a lease, then it's up to the new landlord to figure out what to do when that lease is up. If a person is renting like we were, then all you can do is ask them to leave. If not, then it's up to the new landlord or whatever. So he lied to us right at the beginning with that. He mentioned a couple things. He said that he didn't know I was living there until we went to court, and I explained to the judge that I didn't want to make waves because my name wasn't on the rental agreement, and Michelle and the boys couldn't live there if I got kicked out, because they wouldn't be able to afford to rent on their own, and all this stuff that he already knew. I lived there for 11 years out of the 19 that they've been there, and that there's no way he's not going to know I'm living there. Every time he comes by, I'm there. If there's a problem with the house, I'm the one that's talking to him about it, and it's just something just wasn't right. So, right from the beginning, I felt the reason that he's doing this is because of the wall, the court case, because I was the one that started the project to begin with. I was doing it to be nice because I was trying to stop the feuding between my neighbor and the landlord, and I figured I'd take it upon myself to fix this wall. And the neighbor decided that he wanted to do things differently. He looked at how to build a wall on YouTube, so automatically it had to have a concrete foundation, it had to have this, it had to have mortar. He made it complicated, and he made it expensive. So what I was just going to do, I was going to take everything apart, fix the ground that was sliding out, and put some gravel in behind it and put it back the way it was. That was the original plan. It wouldn't have cost anything. I would have covered the cost myself of the gravel, and I was going to put a garden along the edge of the driveway between it and the wall, and I would have absorbed the cost of that. So after looking into it and all the planning and everything, it would have cost me about $200, no big deal. But he decided, to do all this other crap, and all of a sudden he found out it was our wall and our landlord had to pay for it, and that's what caused all the problems. So there's no doubt in my mind that's why he's kicking us out. I have no doubt whatsoever. But, he's not going to say that, obviously. He's going to lie about it. And the other thing, he mentioned that, we were behind on rent and this and that. And taxes are going up each year, a certain percent. And landlords, I'm not sure if it's just Ontario or if it's Canada or if it's, North America. But you're only allowed to raise the rent 1.5% per year. And apparently taxes are going up faster than that, I don't know. But the thing is, the first 10 years that Michelle was living here, he never raised the rent. It's always been a certain amount. And he put a new roof on, he's put new windows in, and it cost him a lot of money to take the garage down. So every year it's been going up. Now, the thing is, we were paying $800 a month for rent, which is really good to begin with, full house and full yard and everything. And when we started looking for a place, everywhere in town, it's like $1,200, $1,600. So it's like Toronto level rent. It's absolutely crazy, or at least what Toronto used to be. So there really wasn't anything in town that we could actually afford. There was a couple places that we found, but unfortunately, before we were able to get in on them, those landlords decided they were selling as well. So I'm not sure what the one was, but the one that we really wanted, the lady found a place up in Collingwood and decided she was going to move up there. So rather than renting his house, she was just going to sell it. So that was that one. So there seems to be a lot of that going around. So the reason we got Wingham is we found this place. It's $1,000 a month, which is really close to what we were paying. And basically at that time it was the only thing we could really find that we could afford. It's not that far away. I don't know anything about Wingham. I don't have a problem moving there. I wanted to stay in Hanover. Actually, we all did, but you got to do what you got to do, right? So the only issue that we had with this was he sprung this on us a couple of weeks before Christmas, and we had to March 1st to find a place. But in order to get this place, we had to come up with first and last rent by the beginning of February. So we had to move a month early, which means we only had a month to prepare financially, which I tell you is really, really difficult, especially when 3 of us are on income assistance and Zach was not working at the time. So it was pretty rough. So, we had to do what we had to do. I applied for assistance, moving allowance and that. We got help with last month's rent, but that was it. Because in order to get moving assistance, you had to prove why it was you were moving. So we got the forms out, and I got looking at them, and there's nothing on there that specified he was selling the house, and that's why we had to move. So I got looking at it, and it turns out the actual reason that we were being evicted was for non-payment of rent. Now, when you're on a tight income, every once in a while something will happen. It makes things really rough. Well, what we'd do is we'd get the landlord to hold off on the rent for 1 month, and then over the course of the year we'd make up for it. We've done that many times. He's never indicated it's been an issue, but apparently that's his excuse that he was using to get us out of there, I guess you could say. Because it's specified on there, non-payment of rent in the amount of $480, which is half a month's rent, and that had been paid for since, from the time we were evicted to the time we moved, it was paid for. That wasn't a problem for us. But it was all lies. Everything he said was lies. And that really, really pissed us off, because he was such a nice guy for so long. So anyway, that's basically why we're moving. And not long afterward, he had said to us that if you notice, the house doesn't go up for sale. He's got somebody that's looking at it and he wants to buy it for his daughters to live in or something. So he's setting himself up to, not actually sell the house, which he doubt he even planned on to begin with. And then the week that we were moving, he had said that Thursday is the day. Thursday was February 1st, the last day that we were supposed to be there, and he was just kind of telling us that he was showing the place to somebody on Friday or whatever, and we had to have everything out. And who's going to show a house the day after the tenants move out? Without even seeing it first. It just he just wanted to make sure we had everything gone. So he was such a nice person, but towards the end he turned into a bit of a prick. Maybe that's a strong thing to say, but that's how we see it. He lied to us. He just pissed us off. So that's why we're moving, and that's why we chose Wingham. So my concern at the moment is the cat. Like I said, I wanted to be there for him when he came out of the cage, but I wasn't able to, so I just left the door open, and he was still pretty freaked out at that time. He just kind of hid in the back of the cage carrier or whatever. So I just left the door open and closed the bedroom door. So hopefully he'll be okay when I come back. I'll be able to spend some time with him. I just didn't want him stuck in a new place all by himself. So, let's see how that goes. So, back at a new place and just struggling to get everything, what's left on the truck. I forgot to mention, even the real estate agent in town was shocked at how much people are charging for rent here. And we think the real reason that he's kicking us out is so he can raise the rent up to match, what everybody else is charging. Because he can get twice as much for the house as what we were paying. So we think that's the whole reason behind it. I don't know if you noticed, I had a bit of an issue trying to get the truck into the driveway this trip. A little snow in the driveway, and the wheels were slipping and kept sliding towards the wall a little bit. Took a bit and got it in. So got everything done. Got the final load on the truck. Heading out and stopped to say goodbye to Cody. And we're going to stop at McDonald's to grab something to eat first. But unfortunately, the store itself is not open. It's just the drive-thru that's open. And certainly not getting this truck through there. So we're going to stop at Timmy's. We can actually stop at the one in Hanover this time because there's only a few vehicles in the parking lot. So I can get in there, turn around, and I don't have to worry about backing up amongst all the cars and everything that are parked in there, because there aren't any. And then we're going to stop at Subway and grab something to eat there. So I just gone so long and haven't eaten. Well, I haven't eaten in a couple of days anyway, so I'm not sure about Zach. Ken probably has at the new house. But all the work to be done. We're hungry. So we're going to stop and grab something to eat before we leave town for the last time. So by the time everything was done, finished eating and everything, it was just after midnight. I think their final trip to Wingham. Unfortunately, this time of night, the weather had gotten pretty bad. So road conditions aren't all that wonderful. So it kind of took it slow. There's a few places I had to actually slow down a bit. And at times I couldn't see where the road was. Normally in the winter time, especially when I'm driving at night, as long as I can see the edge of the road, I'm fine. If I can't see where the road is, or I can't see the center line, then I generally drive down the middle of the road. That way I know I'm not going off the road. It's kind of a few times on this particular trip that I lost sight of where the road was, so I had to slow down a little bit, and for the most part I just drove in the middle of the road until, like you can see here, the tracks, they're visible, then that's fine. But it was an interesting trip anyways. So in case you're wondering, I'm not taking the shelter with me. There's two reasons for it. One, it's frozen to the ground. I couldn't take it even if I wanted to. But the main reason is there's nowhere to put it. It would take up our entire backyard, and actually it probably wouldn't even fit. Because we got a really, really small backyard, really, really small front yard, which is nice for maintenance, very low maintenance. But we have we have a garage in the back, which is good because I can put stuff in. It's a nice solid wooden garage. And we got like a 10-foot driveway. So between the garage and the house, the shelter wouldn't fit. So it's being left behind, unfortunately. I was gonna give it to somebody, but I get the same problem. It's just everything's frozen. What are we gonna do? And there's a few things in the backyard I couldn't take, or we couldn't take. Not all of it was mine, simply because we can't get to it. He told us to leave in December, and we're leaving beginning of February. There's no time in there for anything to thaw out for us to really do anything. We had no notice, so stuff's frozen to the ground. It's gonna stay. Can't take it, which really, really sucks. My old scooter shelter, I would have room for it. I'd like to have brought it, but same thing. It's frozen to the ground, and we didn't really have any way to transport it anyways. So, them's the breaks, right? So, back to the house. Again, I was pretty much useless. I did what I could, but, Zach and Ken did most of the work unloading. First thing I did when I went in was to check on the cat, and he had vanished. He was completely gone. Couldn't find him anywhere. So he'd come out, and like I've mentioned before, he knows how to open doors. So he left the bedroom, and obviously found somewhere else more suitable to hide. He was hidden pretty good, because I couldn't find him anywhere. I looked everywhere I could. So about 24 hours later-ish, it was the next night anyways, about 2 o'clock in the morning, Zach woke me up. He says he needs my help with Smokey. Apparently Smokey was in his room, and Zach woke up with Smokey brushing against him, kind of scared the crap out of him. So at least we knew where he was. He was in Zach's room. So I opened my bedroom door, and I put a blanket across the top of the steps, so he only had one place to go when Zach scared him out of his room, and that's into my room, which is exactly where he went. And he hid in the back corner, between my computer desk and the heater, and he was still pretty scared. So I talked to him for a bit, and he meowed at me a couple times, and I just told him, so when you're ready, come on out. He gradually did, and a lot of my clothes are in bags. When I move, I like to put clothes in bags because it's easier to stick them in places, boxes you can't really squish. So bags of clothes you can stick inside furniture or pretty much anywhere. So they're just kind of hanging out in my room, and he found a place to hide in amongst them, and he actually buried himself underneath them. So when I went looking for him, it's kind of cool. So that explains why I couldn't find him. He's pretty good at hiding. So he's pretty much good now. When I stacked up all my boxes in here, I still haven't unpacked everything in my room itself. But when I stacked up my boxes, I made sure there was a nice hiding spot in there for him. And that's where he uses right now. So whenever a dog comes running upstairs, or if he hears one of the boys coming up, he runs and hides. He goes into his little cubby hole. He actually spends a lot of time in there. So that was my main concern. My bedroom's always his safe place. I had to make sure he had a nice hiding spot where he'd feel totally, completely safe. So, got everything unloaded. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30, something like that, by the time we finally finished. And the advantage of having the police, circling around, watching what we're doing, I got to stop one and ask him. The U-Haul guy told me there's a place in town where you could park trucks overnight because you can't park them on the main streets. So I asked the police officer where it was, and he explained it to me as kind of complicated directions, from my point of view. Easy to find, but you kind of have to know what he's talking about to understand, how to get to it. So when I found it, I missed it, drove by it the first time. I had to go around and try again, but I got to it. And the next morning, I take the truck back. So I took it out there to the place out of town. Unfortunately, I didn't get that trip on camera because, for whatever reason, my SJCAM stopped working. And my thought at the time was one of the wires had come off. When I wired it permanently, I just soldered the wires to the battery terminals. And I didn't leave it in the truck. When I left the truck, I kind of took it down, stuffed it in my pocket, and then took it back the next day. So I'm thinking probably one of the wires got pulled off, which it did. Yeah, looking at it before I made this video, I actually got looking at it, and sure enough, one of the wires is off. So I didn't get that particular trip, but that's okay. So at this point, this is going to be my last little video for a little while. My channel is officially demonetized. So I don't have that income anymore, which really stinks, but it is what it is. But right now I got so much I'm trying to accomplish. The first week I set up my computer. That was the first thing I did when I got here. And then for the first week, basically all I did was sit at the computer and sleep. I got a lot of sleep. And it took me probably 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks anyways, to recover from all this. My biggest fear when I was driving was having one of my power failures. That would not have been a good thing. I've actually had it happen to me once when I was driving before. And I just pulled over on the side of the road and just waited for it to pass. But driving this big beast at night in this icky weather, I didn't want to take a chance. I was kind of hoping it wouldn't happen, and it didn't, thankfully. So it took me a while to recover. So it took our time. There were a few places that, I think I've mentioned that already, that I had to slow down. So that's the update. Just letting you know I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm going to take a bit of a break. Going to get caught up on things. And I'm going to make some changes, I think. Simplifying my life, I guess you could say. Because everything's just kind of wearing me out, just trying to keep up with everything. So I'm not giving up on my videos, but I guess I am going to take a bit of a break, and then I'm going to come back strong again. And it'll be a little while before my videos catch up to the Wingham videos, because I'm still in July, and a lot happened in July and August. And I finally got notification that the parts for the monster purchase has been approved, so I'm going to wait for that. I still haven't heard anything, but I'm imagining nobody stocks those parts, so they're probably coming straight from Taiwan, which will probably take 2 or 3 months, I'm guessing, because when I buy something from eBay that's from China, it takes 2 or 3 months to get here, so I don't expect that to be anything different. Hell, I've been doing scooter cam videos. Haven't really done anything specific yet. So the first thing I'll be doing will probably be repairing the monster, getting it all ready to use again, and then hopefully by the time that's all finished, then all the snow gone, the ground will be all thawed out, and I'll be able to start checking out the trails here and see how things are looking. As like I say, I know nothing about Wingham. All I know is what I see on the map. So I have to see how things are going. One more thing I want to say here. Remember when I told you whatever amount of gas is in the truck when you pick it up, that's what has to be in when you take it back. Well, $100 seems to be the magic number, because by the time we were finished, the fuel gauge was about a needle width below quarter tank, so it was a little bit less. The problem is the only gas station in town that I've seen is Esso, and it's kind of a tight squeeze, so I didn't want to go in there. If you don't put gas in, they charge you $30 service fee plus I think $1.50 a liter or whatever to bring it back up to whatever it was supposed to be at. So at this point I'm thinking, well, rather than risk damaging the truck or damaging the gas station or anybody that's in there, I'll just pay the extra fee, and that'll be that. So I get there, and I told the guy, basically what I just said, and he says, well, let's take a look at it. He says, I gotta go, write down the mileage anyways. So he goes out there, and he comes back in, and he says, looks like a quarter tank to me. So I didn't have to pay the service fee, so that was kind of nice. So I just thought I'd mention that. So that's it. If you made it this far, thanks for watching.
How far is Timmy's from here?
Probably right where those two lights are above the building. I'm guessing. Judging by Dollarama, that's a tree right there. I'm guessing.
Want to cut across the Thames?
Having half plastic on them. Never used to bother. I mean, it started bothering me. Morning, loader snowplow.
What do you hate?
Having plastic on the bottom half. I don't know why. What? Oh, it's burning. I got to it before you made it.